let's watercolor a rose. I have painted roses my whole life. I have loved painting. I've painted roses in acrylic, I've painted roses in oil, and I've painted a few watercolor roses, but this one I just really loved when I saw this reference photo because it kind of looks watercolory with its natural kind of pink tips that blend in and then kind of disappear into the white creamy base of the petals. So I started here by just dipping in the darkest color, the darkest pink, and then make the outline shape of the ridge of the petal, and then clean off my brush, just dab it kind of clean and dry, and then blend that line of pigment out and down. So leaving the most kind of structured part of the pink there, and then just dragging out the rest. Now, as usual, I'm not making this flower, I'm not intending to make this flower look exactly like the reference photo. I'm just kind of like using the reference photo to see what this type of rose, how and when that pink sort of disappears into the petal. And I'm using my favorite technique where I lay down the color and then use a wet, clean brush and pick that color up. I don't think that there is a painting that I have done that I haven't used that watercolor technique of, it's kind of like erasing, like erasing the pigment. Yeah. And the flower that we're painting here, I'm giving it a little more yellow than this one actually has in this flower. That's just creative license. And I think pink and yellow are just wildly cute together. So now I'm just creating that ridge of that petal and trying to make it sort of look like it is folded over there. Yeah. And then with flowers, sometimes you can tell with the reference photo and sometimes you can't, but as the petals disappear down into the base, that's where you want to, I always find that you put a darker color there in the shadows than you even like think you might need, and that always pops it. So what I'm putting in here is darker actually than the pink that I started the outer petals with. It kind of looks like the same, but it's a bit darker. And then we're just blending it down. I always find it too meticulous to try to make it exactly like the reference photo, and it also feels a little bit freer to just sort of do it the way your brain sees it. I did very much enjoy doing this watercolor. It felt like it was going quickly. I'm not a fast painter generally, and this painting felt like it was coming together quite quickly. Now I'm trying to add the shadow here and the little kind of veins of that petal. And now we get to the green. These I stuck pretty close to the reference photo because in my mind I didn't really have an idea of what the little petals that coming off of the rose, how they'd be positioned or whatever. So I stuck pretty close to the reference photo here. I love painting with green, and this watercolor set, I know I'm like always screaming about this watercolor set, but look, it has, I mean, almost an entire row of different greens. It's not like you just have a green. And as you can see, I kind of made the stem look circular, you know, like an actual stem, by just using those greens and then dragging the clean dry brush down the center, and it pulled that pigment. I'm just trying to make that jagged edge that the rose leaf is known for, that little kind of spiky edge. And these little wispy little bits that were in the reference photo. And the veins down the leaves. This really came together maybe the most quickly of any flower that I have painted specifically recently. Maybe because I have kind of a lot of experience with roses in particular. I wanted to add a little bit of kind of that burgundy into that petal, because the roses that I have in my actual rose garden, my front yard, I have 2 rose bushes, but they have a lot of leaves that have that kind of burgundy in it, so I felt like it was adding natural. So now I'm just going in with that, like the darkest color, and just sort of kissing the tips of those petals where you can see the darkest, just to make each petal stand out. It's an outline essentially, but not, not a structured, thick outline. My goal is to maintain the delicate nature of these petals and of the blend of the colors. I was really pleased with the way I achieved the petals sort of folding over, like opening and folding over. That's been a challenge for me in the past. So I was pretty happy about that. And I'm just darkening up the petals. At this point, it probably could have been finished, but as I do with most of my paintings, I'm thinking, no, I just need a little bit more there, a little bit more here. And yeah. And there's the signature. The tape pull-off reveal isn't quite as dramatic with this one because I didn't give it a background, so you're not getting that crisp white border as you pull off the tape, but it's still satisfying to see the art clean without the tape on it. I hope you enjoyed painting this rose with me. Yeah, there she is. See you on the next flower.